Energy overconsumption is a major issue worldwide, and Rutgers University, being one of the largest universities in the Northeast, has to develop ways to begin to solve this problem. Currently, Rutgers is spending $60 million to power the university. Rutgers University is predominantly a research-based university with numerous laboratories on each campus. It is estimated that labs located on campuses consume about 60% of the campus energy, but only occupy 10% of the space. On a square foot basis, labs consume 4 to 5 times more energy than classrooms or offices. The labs at Rutgers have a lot of high-powered devices that are left plugged in all day and contribute to Rutgers' energy overconsumption. It would be beneficial to find ways to lower the energy use of these labs so that money saved could be put to better use. Rutgers is facing many financial hurdles, which has resulted in loss of courses, faculty, and extracurricular activities. So any money saved could be used to prevent Rutgers from having to deal with such losses. Also, finding ways to reduce energy consumption would also be beneficial because it would reduce the school's carbon emission, which also has a major contribution to global warming.
During the months of October and November, for our community service project, we conducted surveys of all the labs located at Foran Hall. These surveys were an effort to identify where energy was being wasted. These surveys allowed us to identify which devices were frequently used or shared or not used at all in the laboratories.
Hello, I'm Mario, and I'm about to give you a tour of a typical lab here in Rutgers. To start off, here on my right is a vacuum concentrator, and this is used only a few times during the day, yet it's left plugged in all day, and as you can see from this screen, it's still consuming energy. And over here is a fume hood, and these fume hoods are known to consume the equivalent of 3.5 times an average American home. It's a big guy right there. And over here is another fume hood, and as you can see from that light, it's still consuming energy. And over here we have our smaller instruments, our scales, and our pH meters. And if you look at these screens, they're still consuming energy even though they're not being used. And here's a magnetic stirring plate, and again it's still plugged in. And moving along, we have our desktop attached to our real-time PCR thermal cycler, and again it's still plugged in, consuming energy, along with this microwave. Bling! And moving along is our water bath. This puppy over here is set at 37 degrees Celsius, and it's understandable why you would leave this on, since certain reactions like restriction, enzyme digests, or ligations would require you to have this set at a certain temperature, and it takes a really long time to get it to the correct temperature. And over here we have our Electrophoresis power supplies, and again they're still plugged in. And mind you, all these could be attached to a power strip, which can conveniently be switched off, reducing the amount of energy consumed. Over here we have our heating blocks. Here's our UV box. And again, all of these devices are left plugged in all day. And moving along, here is 2 incubators. This one is set at 37 degrees Celsius. and the bottom one is set at 30 degrees Celsius. And it's understandable why you would leave these on, since you need to incubate your bacteria at certain temperatures. And over here we have old models of our freezer and refrigerator. And just standing here, I can feel that it's pretty cold. You know, that's telling me that it's not well insulated. So if you would switch over to an Energy Star rated refrigerator, you would be reducing the amount of energy consumed. And over here we have a high-speed centrifuge. And the plug is pretty hard to reach, but again, you can use a power strip. You could attach it to a power strip and then conveniently turn off the power strip. And moving over here, we have our autoclave, and again, this is left plugged in along with this stereo. Moving along, we have our shaker and our thermal cyclers for PCR, and apparently somebody left this running. The reaction has ceased, yet the device is still running, consuming energy. The person was probably in a hurry. These reactions usually run for about 2 hours, less than 2 hours. And over here we have our Incubator Shaker, which is left on. You got some tubes over there. Somebody's growing some bacterial cultures. And these are left on during the whole day. You know, usually somebody will grow up a bacterial culture overnight and extract either plasmids or genomic DNA. And that's basically it. There's nothing really unique in this lab, such as FE fluorescent microscopes or biocores or anything like that. But the devices in this lab are typical in many labs. And that's the conclusion of this tour. Thank you and have a fantastic day.